All right, now in this special edition of the broadcast, over the course of the next 30 minutes, we'll be updating you on everything that's happening around the world. And let's start with some international news first, where former US Vice President Joe Biden has made a speech to the 2018 House Democratic Issues Conference in Washington, D.C. He was extremely critical of US President Donald Trump in the speech. Biden also specifically spoke about the Charlottesville incident when a man had driven a car into a group of counter-protesters at the Unite the Right rally in the month of August in 2017. Now, this is the first time that Biden has publicly spoken out against US President Donald Trump. The Peruvian President Pedro Pablo has issued a warning to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro about his presence at the Summit of the Americas. The Peruvian president has said that Maduro is welcome, but he was unsure as to how he will be received by Peru's Venezuelan community. Now, according to the government, some 100,000 Venezuelans live in Peru. Peru has eased restrictions on Venezuelans seeking to come into Peru to escape the crisis engulfing their home country. A winter storm blowing through the U.S. Midwest caused several deaths in Iowa and Missouri from car crashes as the weather snarled highways and cancelled hundreds of flights at Chicago's busy airport. According to authorities and local media, 6 people have been killed in Iowa, 2 people have been killed in about southwest Missouri, and more than 70 others were injured after icy roads led to a high number of accidents. Rio de Janeiro's carnival officially begins on the 9th of February and the markets are already thriving. Popular items are masks and makeup and are up for sale at the open-air markets and stands. The hundreds of thousands of tourists come to watch the parades and take part in the street processions in Rio de Janeiro. Now, airstrikes have killed about 31 civilians, including about 12 children in the rebel-held eastern Ghouta region near Syria's capital, Damascus. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights has said that the United Nations has called for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Syria of at least a month. The United Nations representatives noted that eastern Ghouta, the last major rebel bastion near Damascus after almost 7 years of war, had not received inter-agency aid since November. The African National Congress leader Cyril Ramaphosa has said that he was holding direct talks with Jacob Zuma over transition of power, and this is a strong indication that the South African president will be stepping down after years of scandal. Now, the 75-year-old Zuma has been South Africa's most controversial president. In a statement, Ramaphosa has said that he and Zuma had begun the talks on Tuesday night and hope to conclude their discussions and report back to the country in the coming days. This is the first official confirmation of the talks between the two leaders. At least 2 more people have died during Bolivia's massive flooding and heavy rains. The recent flooding came out of the overflow of the Taquina River. The mayor of Tacupaya has opened extra housing for the displaced as even heavy trucks were being used to evacuate locals. Now, according to the official figures, at least about 50,000 families have been left homeless since the beginning of the rainy season. The Bolivian President Evo Morales has announced a state of emergency. Now, a portrait of a Nigerian princess that was lost for more than 40 years has been found in a London flat and will be sold at an auction screened live in Lagos, allowing the Nigerian art lovers to make bids direct from the West African mega city. Now, the portrait of Edu Tutu Adam Iliu, who was a granddaughter of a revered traditional ruler from Yoruba ethnic group, holds special significance in Nigeria as a symbol of national reconciliation after the 1967 to 1970 Biafran War. But China has recently sent the Su-35 fighter jets for a joint combat patrol mission in the South China Sea area, according to the People's Liberation Army's Air Force. The deployment is part of the Air Force's efforts to carry out the military training under combat conditions. The Army has said that the Su-35 fighter jets participating in such training are expected to enhance the Air Force's combat capability under the long-distance or high-sea conditions. Now, winter weather in Paris has brought with it concerns and also an emergency response for the city's homeless. There are no official figures for how many homeless people are there in the city of Paris. Paris intends to carry out a census on the 15th of February. The City Hall says that it has opened as many as 1,500 overnight places since December and has also added more beds in the local council buildings and sporting halls since Monday, when temperatures have dipped several notches below zero. The German Chancellor Angela Merkel has said that her party members had made painful concessions to the Social Democrats to secure a coalition deal that should give Germany a new government after months of political paralysis. The SPD leader Martin Schulz, who now needs his party's grassroots to approve the deal in a postal ballot, said this week that the SPD had ensured that the coalition would stop the forced austerity and also set up an investment budget for the Eurozone. All right, let's now take a look at some news from India, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be addressing two election rallies in Tripura today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's rallies in Sonamura and Kailashahar. This is the Prime Minister's first political rally in Tripura. His rally comes ahead of the February 18 Assembly elections in the small state in northeast. The Supreme Court is likely to hear a batch of cross petitions challenging 2010 Allahabad High Court verdict on the Ayodhya case today. Now, the Allahabad court had divided the disputed Babri Masjid Ram Janmabhoomi site between the Nirmohi Akhada, the Lord Ram deity, and also the Sunni Waqf board. The Air Intelligence Unit arrested a passenger at Mumbai's Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport with foreign currency worth ₹1.25 crore. The passenger was arrested before his departure for a Hong Kong flight. The assorted foreign currencies were roughly about $200,000, 1,260 Hong Kong dollars, and about 730 Chinese yuan. The 14th edition of the Auto Expo is all set to start in India from today. Now, top domestic and foreign car manufacturers have unveiled their next generation models, including the much talked about electric vehicles. The Maruti Suzuki has also announced that it will roll out its first electric car in India by the year 2020. Six teams from around the world took part in an international ice hockey tournament in India's city of Leh in a bid to enter the Guinness Book of World Records for playing the highest altitude ice hockey match. The players played at the Chibra Ice Hockey Rink, which is situated at a whopping 14,050 feet above the sea level. Over 90 players from countries such as the United States, Russia, Canada, Germany and France came to Leh to participate in the tournament.